Well, a warm welcome back to Cartagena and to Murcia in the southeast of Spain, where the Levante is blowing this morning. We have some strong breezes, 20 knots on the course area so far. We're round 4 of 5 of the Audi Med Cup circuit 2011, and it's the penultimate racing day, and the stage is set for a fantastic coastal race on the water. Joined again by Marcus Hutchinson in the studio here with us. Marcus, one day I think you might get out in the water, but today it's an interesting looking situation for the coastal race. 1.5 points on the table.
It's a totally different situation, not only from a scoring point of view, but also from a weather point of view. We've got a very different wind direction, and we've got a lot more breeze. We've seen the points situation close up dramatically over the last couple of days, not just for this regatta, but for the overall season as well. And as we're getting towards the end of this fourth event, people are beginning to look at the long-term situation on the season leaderboard.
And getting a little bit nervous.
Absolutely.
So it's a fascinating day in the water yesterday. Marcus, just talk us through some of the best bits of yesterday's racing.
Well, we'll go and look at yesterday's racing. Was in a slightly stronger breeze than the previous day. It was about 13 knots of breeze at the top of it. It got choppier and choppier as the day went on.
A pretty consistent day for Bribon though overall.
Bribon was one of the star performers and has managed to hold on to their overall lead. But the other star performer yesterday was Audi Azura Sailing Team that managed to win 2 of the races. Quantum didn't have such a good performance. It looked a lot. There was a little sneak run through here by Bribon in one of the races and managed to get a second. And Container also got back in charge of the situation during this regatta. They led around every buoy, but with Audi Azura right on their tail the whole time. But the ever-present Bribon was there all the time as well. This has been very close for them. Container made probably the most significant move so far and moved themselves up with a large margin over Quantum. Azura won their second race of the day. Container got second, but look at this, Bribon there once again to really keep her chances alive on this region of Murcia Trophy Regatta. The Soto 40s had some good racing as well. There's a different situation going on here. Ngoni is the class act of this regatta so far and have managed to keep their scores high all the time, winning quite a few of the races. The 2 Spanish boats, Enache and Iberdrola, have had a pretty good ding-dong as well, and they're very close on points. Iberdrola hasn't had things all their own way in this regatta, unlike previous Audi Met Cup events. It was a really interesting last-minute surge here, so that's the Noticia in the foreground, but watch this, that's the finish line right there. And then Ngoni gets it just by half a boat length.
So 2 firsts and a second then yesterday for Ngoni. And there we look at the TP52 standings. Bribon then, a lot of local support for them in Spain for the first time this season. 15 points. Second is Audi Azura, the Italians who were so good in Cagliari. Second there on 17 points now. Third is Container, improving yesterday on 23 points. Synergy, the Russian team, 25. And fourth. Fifth, Quantum Racing have some work to do today on this coastal race. 28 points. Audi All for One won the first race yesterday on 29. And the British-Swedish boat ran in 7th. Ngoni then, as we said, 2 wins yesterday and a second, top of the pile and 7 points, 5 points clear of the circuit leaders, Iberdrola on 12, NH Resorts, Iñaki Castañer and the Spanish team pushing their compatriots hard on 12 as well. The Aussie team from Western Australia, Patagonia, in their first regatta, lying 4th, a respectable 20-point. And Cruiser Racer, the Barcelona team in their first regatta on 24. So Marcus, it's going to be an interesting course today, isn't it? It's all to play for. The breeze is blowing offshore. It's going to be shifty. But before we do that, we're going to have a look at, we spoke with some of the sailors again in our morning dock walk, finding the victims. And we got some interesting information as we went round the dock this morning in this different breeze. Yeah, and a very good morning to everyone. Thanks for joining us. We're on the dock walk morning of the coastal race, high points value for the TP52s. Morning, Carlos. How's things?
Hola, buenos días. Estamos aquí paseando por el Pantalán antes de la regata costera de los TPS 52 y los otros no hacen costera, sino que harán dos barlosotas. Y vemos aquí a gente, a ver si se puede acercar Pedro. Pedro.
Busy man, just sorting out the sales selection for the day.
Felicidades por tu, creo que has sido feliz papá, ¿no?
Sí, una hermosa niña.
Fantástico. Gran día ayer, hoy que salís a por todas.
Hoy salimos a por todas, como siempre.
Como siempre.
Sí, como siempre.
Venga,
A darlo todo.
Buena suerte.
Gracias, muchas gracias.
So what was he saying, Carlos?
He has been father recently. I say felicidades.
Yeah, let's have a quick word with Skip. Skip, how's things this morning?
Yeah, good. Ready to go.
How's the mood on board Quantum then? A little bit of pressure on, perhaps.
Well, in recognition of a big game of rugby today, we put the black strip on, so we're expecting big things on the water as well.
Going to catch Guillermo very quickly. Guillermo, how's things?
Todo bien, por suerte. All good.
Good.
Going.
What do you feel about the coastal race today then?
It's challenging. The weather forecast seems to be windy, so it's going to be a nice day on the water.
A nice day on the water.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we are sailors. We love sailing, and that's what we're here for. So, what else we can ask for?
And a good atmosphere on board Azura now.
Yeah, the atmosphere is pretty much the same as the whole season. We come here to do the best we can and do it properly, and that's what we're here for.
Guille, solo una muy corta. ¿Estáis más cómodos si el viento pasa de 14 nudos para arriba o no?
Sinceramente, no, nos da igual.
Te da igual 8 que 80.
El viento que haya, creo que tenemos un buen barco y el setup bien, las velas, la tripulación, todo como para poder hacerlo bien, tanto con calma como con viento, y básicamente depende más de nosotros que de las condiciones. Así que, nada, ahí confiado y viendo qué tal bien lo podemos hacer hoy.
Perfecto, suerte, tío.
Gracias.
Iberdrola.
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 With some extra crew on board.
Iberdrola, te ha tocado. Te ha tocado, estamos en directo, Agus. Es un atraco. ¿Cómo ves a tus chicos? Es la primera vez que os están dando pal pelo.
Sí, no, bueno, la verdad es que los cambios que ha hecho el barco inglés han dado buen fruto, no solamente en tripulación, sino también en velas. Y bueno, esto es algo ya estratégico, ¿no? Nosotros empezamos fuertes la campaña cosechando muchos puntos al principio y bueno, todavía no está todo vendido, ¿no? Yo creo que hay que seguir luchando, quedan 3 regatas, estamos a 5 puntos y sobre todo en Barcelona es cuando nos toca a nosotros estrenar velas y cambios de tripulación no va a haber, con lo cual ahí mostraremos todo nuestro poderío.
Dile algo en inglés a mi amigo Andy y a la audiencia inglesa.
So Andy, we are very happy to be here in Cartagena again. Today is a very beautiful day with big seas and high winds, and we enjoy very much this class of boat, Soto 40, and I think we are going to have at least 20 to 22 knots today, so we are going to be fun.
A little bit of fun today.
Yeah, today is going to be a great day for sure, okay?
Nada, pues nos despedimos de este paseo por el matinal por el Pantalán y seguiremos más tarde desde el agua y desde el estudio con la retransmisión en directo de las regatas de hoy.
So that's it from the chat from the dockside. Join us again later when we're on the water for the racing. So as we head out onto the water to join our commentating team on the water live, it's going to be an interesting day. I say the breeze is offshore. As you look at it from the harbour there, the wind is channeling down that gap there as we look upwind now. And it's going to be very shifty as we head up. The breeze will be shifting right out the right side, influenced by the coast, and then possibly a little bit more pressure in the middle of the track. So we're hopefully going to go out and join our commentary team on the water. There's Sebastian Destremo. Sebastian, how's things this morning?
Well, things are pretty good this morning. A bit bumpy though, but it's pretty good. The wind is blowing 13 to 18 knots. The gusts are up to 18 at the moment. we're really close to the shore. So as you can see behind me, and the wind is parallel to the coast. So for the first leg. So what will be interesting for the first leg is whether the team are going to decide to go left near the coast to have the coastal effect, or outside on the offshore where there's a little bit more pressure. At this stage, I can't really tell you what the decision will be, but they will definitely have this decision to make really quickly.
And Sebastian, what's the sea state in the start area? Is it reasonably flat, or it looked a little bit bumpy?
It is bumpy where we are now, but obviously as the boats will go closer to the shore, and closer to the harbour, the water is becoming flatter. So it's just a very tough call to decide whether you go for the pressure, the strong pressure, but a lot of waves on the offshore side, or near the coastline where there'll be smoother water, very shifty, and you can get knocked up there. So I'm not 100% sure at this stage.
And of course, the opening windward-leeward section of the course is absolutely vital to get a good start and a good first beat, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. For the coastal race, although it's a long race and it's going to last a few hours, the first beat is crucial. As you know, the passing lane are not always obvious, and you've got to have a good start. You've got to push really hard at the start, and I'll expect all these TP52s to really give it all for the start.
Okay, Seb, we'll come back to you just before the start, hopefully, and you can talk us through things then. Marcus, yep. Interesting course situation, because there's going to be so many opportunities to gain and to lose.
Yes, I for sure the first lap is going to be important, but I disagree with the fact that that's where it's all going to happen, because the configuration of this course is going to see them sail upwind for 5 miles after the run. And if we compare it to, say, the Cagliari course, where there was a lot of reaching and then more running before they got to do some upwind stuff, they're still going to be very close together at the beginning of this second leg, which is a long 5 mile upwind, just beyond where they're going to go for the first windward mark. For the first leg, I like the left-hand side because I'm interested in that flat water on the left-hand side, and also I think that I still think there's going to be better wind on the left-hand side of that short beat. For the second long beat, it's going to be a different story, but I still think we're going to see people looking for the people who are going to be good on the left.
So just talk us roughly round the course. What's the kind of orientation? What are the legs going to be? And maybe a little bit of sail selection is going to be important today.
Yes, well, the first lap is just the usual windward leeward, and then there's a long 5 mile beat up beyond the corner, which is going to take them basically to a point called Cabo dell'Acqua, which is about 3 miles along from the headland that we saw there. We can just see it. It's the most obscure, the most extreme right headland that we can see. Then they're going to reach out, or probably run straight out to a variable buoy, about another 2.5 mile downwind leg, which will be in the right-hand side of the screen here. They're going to jibe at that point and race into the Pigeon Island, which is just pretty much inshore between where the start line is now and the cliffs. And then that's about another 5 mile downwind reaching leg. Actually, that's going to be a beam reach. And then they've got another 4 mile upwind leg to get from that Pigeon Island right up inside the harbour where the finish is.
And as you say, the finish is in the harbour. It's going to be shifty, it's going to be difficult. A sting in the tail, perhaps?
Well, there may well be, but I think the fleet will be sufficiently well spread out at that stage.
So we're going to go out and join Seb. We're at 40 seconds before the start. Seb, talk us through the start.
Yeah, well, within 40 seconds, inside 40 seconds now, the battle for position has started a minute ago, and Quantum has been battling with Container in the middle of the line. It looks to me that all these guys want the left-hand side, but the two Audi boat, the blue boat and the red boat, they're going to start at the committee end of the line now. It's the big spill build now with 5 seconds to go. Here we go, Container once again, Container full speed, bearing off a little bit, and off they go, and they're off. Container again, Container in the middle of the line is the best starter of this race, and now they're going to go towards the shoreline and the left side of the course.
A good start by Quantum by the looks of things as well, slightly better. Up on this side of the track, Audi Azura and Audi All for one, Marcus.
Yes, well, interesting that they both started up here to windward, both of them beside each other. They know their weaknesses. I suspect we're going to see well, if they get a bit too close to each other, they're going to bounce out to the right here shortly. But very interesting situation with Audi Azura, the blue boat. I was talking to Gilles Favennec this morning. He thinks they are a bit better in this medium stuff than they are. They go really well when it's windy on the red boat, but the blue boat, the sister ship, has got itself together, and we saw that yesterday. They had really good upwind speed, able to lift to windward of other boats. So watch for these two boats here on the windward side. They're definitely interested in the right, but as I said earlier, I like the left. Certainly the flat water situation that they'll probably start to reach within the next maybe 7 or 8 minutes on this leg will have a big effect. And when we start looking at the overhead view as well of their tracks, we'll be able to see what sort of angles they are racing at right now.
Seb, Synergy seem to go off the pin or close to the pin. How are they looking in your view?
Well, as I was going to say, Synergy, they didn't have a very good start. They're a little bit off the pace. They've been rolled by Bribon and Container. They're sandwiched in between, and they'll have to bail out very soon. Here we go, they're attacking right now as we speak. They're going to have to cross and take everybody's turn to get out on the right-hand side. Meanwhile, the start of Audi All for One was very interesting. They've managed to build a very significant gap between them and their sister ship Audi Azura sailing team. And now the Audi boat, the Audi red boat, it's got about 3 boat lengths separation, and they can survive there easily. So they're in great shape at the moment, the Franco-German boat.
Well, Sebastian, we just saw the overhead view there. It was very interesting to see what's happened. The two Audi boats seem to have a bit more of a right-hand pressure here, even across the width of the start line here. And they already are showing that they have a fairly significant advantage, not only with speed, but also with angle compared to the boats to leeward of them. So there is that overhead view again. We can see Synergy that was right down at the left, coming across behind Audi All for One already with a 100-meter deficit, and we're only 2.5 minutes into this race.
Seb, so Audi All for One seem to be lifting slightly along with Audi Azura.
Yes, definitely, definitely, Andy. The boat to weather seems to be a bit higher than the one to leeward, and that's probably the coastal effect. You know, like the coast, as they come down or nearer the coast, you get knocked a little bit earlier. But as I said before the start, you know, like there's a big differences in pressure between the left side and the right-hand side of the course. And obviously at the start, what was really paying for the two windward boats, the two Audi boats, were this bit of a lift or bit of a righty that came into play and really helped them to survive their position. So at the moment, Bribon is the one boat that is the furthest to leeward, with well, on starboard I'm talking about, and it's only Bribon is really surviving from this corner. Bribon and Quantum, and Container already has lost as well a fair bit of distance as opposed to the boat that are on the right-hand side. So for the moment, it's all in the right-hand side boats.
Yeah, it's interesting to see what happened there with Synergy. They tacked across and came behind the two Audi boats, and they've already started to look a lot better than the boats that they dipped away from behind that are still on the left-hand side. I think we're seeing something rather strange going on here. It's very clear that the right-hand side has got a completely different set of conditions. Now the question is whether the boats that started on the left are going to stick with it and maybe get a bit better later on when it gets flatter water, or cut their losses at this stage and start coming across. We've just seen Quantum make a tack across, and but Container and Bribon are still down there on the left-hand side. There is a bit of investment to be done here, Andy, and this left-hand side is going to potentially be better later on the beat, but the question is, how long do you wait?
That's right. I mean, we spoke with Marcel Ventrius just before they went out. The navigator on Bribon, he's fairly confident and knows these waters as well as anyone after 4 years here. And he was saying that would be the equation. Do you invest in the left for the left-hander which blows out of the harbour and bide your time to get there, or do you go for the early pressure on the right? But he said lots of opportunities all the way around this course. But anyway, they've staked their claim to the left just now.
It was interesting there that the Audi boats tacked on top of Quantum, who needed to tack away to clear her air, and as soon as she did that, she came straight back. So there is a mad rush to the right by everybody at the moment.
But Audi All for One looking good just now, Seb.
Audi All for One looking really strong indeed, Andy, and the drama for the boat that were on the left is because they lost a fair bit of distance right after the gun, and the two early boats were just waiting for the opportunity for them to turn and really slammed onto Quantum as they were coming across. Container already suffered 2 extra attacks to get out of Rand's bad air, so it's really a bit of a dramatic start for all the boats that started on the left-hand side of the starting line, and for the moment I can really see the two early boats really pulling away from the fleet, and with an advantage to the red one, Audi All for One.
And how do you see Synergy out in the far right? They've had to tack out. How are they looking?
Well, that's an interesting one. It doesn't look too flash for the Russian boat at the moment. It's just, it looks like the loss they suffered at the start was really significant. As Marcus said, he said 100 meters, and at the moment Synergy hasn't recovered from that. They're just going back on starboard towards the fleet, but unfortunately for them, the wind has turned left a little bit. They're a little bit in a header, so not a very good starboard tack for the Russian boat, Andy.
Seb, Audi Azura, things look pretty settled, Marcus?
Yeah, we're on board Audi Azura here, looking straight upwind. We can see the headlands and the mountains ahead. The teams have to sail towards this land, upwind into this, whereas yesterday they were sailing upwind away from the shore towards the open sea, so a very different set of circumstances, and those strategist and tactician looking carefully at the boats around them and also looking at the shifts that are coming down towards them. It's difficult because it's choppy there, as you can see the boats bouncing over the waves.
And that equation is going to change as you go upwind, isn't it? It's going to get flatter, but more shifty.
Oh look, there's a ship on the course. We didn't see that on Virtual Eye. Now I don't know whether that's going to
it's the left-hander.
Play into the course area or make an effect on them, but we'll watch that for a landmark situation. We just saw very briefly under the boom of Audi Azura the other Audi boat, the red Audi boat, All for One, and they certainly seem to be in a nice position forwards and to leeward there.
So Seb, we're just watching this ship. Is this going to be a significant thing just now? Seb?
Sorry, what was that, Andy?
I was just asking about the ship in the background. Is that on the move?
No, I was concerned about that, but it's too far away. So now the TP52s have cleared that, and I thought maybe that was what was affecting the wind on the left-hand side boat, but no, it was too far away. But now what's happening is you can clearly see that the left side is starting to pay, and Audi Azura has managed to build a significant gap with the red boat, the red Audi All for One, and now we've got a container as well that is now tacking again going to the left side. So it looks like the left side is now paying a little bit at the moment anyway for Audi Azura.
Well, that overhead view helps us see things a little bit better, and the boats that are in the middle forwards have got a bit of a left-hander, but Bribon far out on the left-hand side. Well, they've just had container tack straight in front of them, but it doesn't look quite as healthy for them over there on that side. This is really, really complicated to pick the lane well, and there's no question that Audi Azura has done the best job of it so far. They've really pulled back a lot on Audi All for One, but those two have a nice little lead at this stage.
Bribon have been forced to tack back. I mean, I think that the left will get progressively better as we get up here, wouldn't you think?
Well, it will, but they're going to run out of runway soon, and they're going to find themselves on that ley line for the weather mark before too long. So it's now that it needs to come good, right now.
Seb, what's your evaluation of the situation for Quantum? What are their options?
For Quantum, for Quantum, their option for the moment is just to survive there, to survive where they are, just expecting Audi Azura, or hoping that Audi Azura is not going to get onto their wind. But we've just been knocked here. Audi Azura and Audi All for One just being knocked, and now it put Audi All for One in a much stronger position. So really, what it tells me is the wind is extremely shifty. And the first shift was very crucial for these the two Audi's boats. But now it's just a matter of keep playing the shift all the way to the top mark. We're about I'd say less than 10 minutes from the top mark, and it's gonna become shifty. I can see Bribon right near the shoreline over there, being
a
really
big lefty
lifted
now
on port. So on port, yes. So it's just a matter of using every opportunity now to just play the shifts for the two leading boats, and I would expect them to tack, as soon as they get knocked, basically.
They're probably pretty much in the centre of the course right now, those two boats, and they will definitely be reveling in these conditions from a speed point of view as well as from their position. They have shown, certainly yesterday we saw from Audi Azura, that they had no problems at all in these conditions, and I think as the day goes on we're expecting a little bit more breeze and they're going to move further and further ahead, these two. Quantum's still in there. They're having a good early performance here in this race. Remember, this is a 1.5 times points scoring race, so very important to do well in this race. Very important not to do badly in this race.
Absolutely. We saw Terry Hutchison here this morning having a family visit on board. He did have a look at the rig tension, I think, or a little tweak in the rig perhaps, but certainly a talisman affected. Do you think, Marcus?
Well, I don't know. I think Terry. I think Terry was up the road in Valencia with his base, and he came down here. It's the weekend, so he was there with his family and having little looks. Unusual to see him in civilian clothes. There we have seen the moment. Both Audi boats tacking simultaneously to go back towards the middle of the course, and there we have it. Both Container and Quantum racing tacked underneath them.
That's right. We can see Bribon there. And a little bit of left-hander. How's Bribon looking now, Seb?
Well, Brabon, at the moment, Brabon is still in the lift on port, but it's just getting a little bit worse for them. It's just they're just getting knocked. What's interesting is the match racing, not the match racing, but like matching, the two Audi boats matching each other. They've been tacking simultaneously since the beginning of this race, and they only done 2 tacks so far. Meanwhile, the other have done at least 4 or 6, and so that makes a huge difference as well. And that's probably why these two boats are quite comfortable in the lead at the moment. But looking at Bribon. Bribon now is really in a header and suffering a big loss for the Spanish boat.
They've just been out of phase, unfortunately. It didn't help them, the fact that they had Container tack straight on them, but for the last 4 or 5 minutes, Bribon has just been out of phase with all of those shifts, and they found themselves stuck out on the left-hand side. They have to get back towards the middle, but it's the wrong time to do it.
Yeah, that's right, Marcus. You're dead right there. With Synergy as well, is out of phase. Not using the shift properly because they are behind, and the fleet is using the shift, or the top 3. The top 3 are using the shift, and so Synergy cannot really use the opportunity to tack whenever they want, and it's all to the advantage of the two Audi's boat and Quantum.
Those cliffs in the background there are very dramatic, aren't they, Andy? I know the camera foreshortens it, but it is no lie. It's a very dramatic geographic part of the world, this. Wonderful place to sail, but those cliffs also extend around to the right, and the teams will be sailing up towards them. The wind is coming over the top of them. It's not straightforward by any stretch of the imagination. And luckily today we have a good breeze, so there's plenty for the teams to work with.
Sure, it's certainly getting shiftier and a little bit more random as they get up towards the windward mark. How far now then to the windward mark, Seb?
Well, they are about 5 minutes from the windward mark. A very close call between Quantum and Ran. Quantum was starting to bear away behind Ram, and Ran tacked. I saw a protest flag on Quantum, but I'm not sure about the decision. It should be a green flag, I guess. But very close call between these two. So we are about 6 minutes from or 5 minutes from the top mark.
That was interesting to see that, because we now have a bit of a split. Quantum and Ran on the right, and Container and Bribon on the left. And I wonder whether, here we go, the simultaneous swimming going on here between these two boats. It's obviously as clear as that, the shifts that they're getting. They're really in phase, these two, as long as they stay in phase and not interfering with each other, which is, I guess, why they're both going at the same time. They know it's a long race. They know that they're going to move out nicely together, but it's quite interesting to see those sisters, the blue and the red boat, doing the same thing, and they have both got fairly comfortable buffer at the moment from third place Ran, which is 100 meters back.
So Audi All for One and Audi Azura, both race winners yesterday, in the top positions just now as we approach the windward mark of this coastal race, round about 30 miles, carries points and a half. And as Marcus was just saying, I think the strategy between the two leading boats just now really try to interfere with each other as little as possible and worry about things later on.
Well, that under boom view from Audi Azura gives a nice perspective there. There's the red boat, but the other boats already with a little bit of a deficit out to the right-hand side. Quantum and Ran quite close together, and right behind the camera on the left, or behind Audi Azura, is Container and Bribon.
No, negative. I need another 30 seconds. We are ready for left, correct?
Well, Andy, we're just in the middle of the gate, the windward gate, as the boat are approaching. Audi All for One is not on the ley line at this stage. Audi Azura is on a fine ley line. It's a gate at the top mark, so they can elect to go either way. But I would expect the leaders to sail to use the right mark and do a barrel set and go on the offshore side where there's more waves and more pressure for this run.
Sebastian, we're on board. We're on board Audi Azura now. We can hear the comments of the navigator talking about the gate.
Right mark. Change the gear.
So this in the coastal race is a gate, of course.
See.
It's Vasco Voscotto, just telling the crew to change the gear around. They're going for the right-hand mark, looking upwind, as Seb was saying, looking to get offshore.
Yeah, they will go offshore. Unfortunately for Audi All for One, can they reach the top mark? Yes, only just though. They will have to. That perfect ley line from Philippe Morgnac from this distance. They just nailed it. Okay, they just have to do a little bit of a head to wind to clear the mark. But boy, oh boy, adjusting the ley line from that distance. Fantastic work from Philippe Morgnac. Now they've got to be watching. They've got to watch Quantum coming across. Oh, a jibe set for the French Franco-German boat, which is a bit of a surprise. I would have expected them to go on the barrelway set.
So Audi Azura round second.
There is an issue on board Azura. The bowman has crumbling. I think there was a problem with the windward spinnaker sheet that was not plugged in properly.
We're on board, Sebastian. We're on board watching.
So that last minute change then, obviously catching them flat-footed a little bit, getting themselves sorted out. They do have a little bit of a gap back to Quantum, I think.
Hold, don't trim.
So Quantum with a platform to work for in this coastal race. Then Bribon.
We cannot do anything. You cannot do anything.
And Synergy now, Seb.
Yes, Synergy is approaching the gate. It's
let's try to jibe.
The problem, Synergy tacking now to go to the right-hand side, the right mark of the gate. It's interesting to have these gates at the top. Now it's just open the options a lot. But then if you use the right-hand side mark, then you're in trouble with your spinnaker hoist. And that's what happened to Azura. They've made a very late call to go for a barrelway. And now Azura is in trouble. They've got the spinnaker in the water on board Azura. They can't hoist their spinnaker properly. So a very, very big loss for the Italian boat. A very late call for the maneuvers, and it's just adding pain to injury for the Italian boat, Audi Azura.
We're on board with Azura here. We can see them holding the old spinnaker. They've got it all back on board. Not sure if they're changing to another sail. Probably will change to another sail or try and hoist this one. Not exactly clear what the problem was there. Big distance being lost here. This is a crucial moment here in the race. As you can see, the rest of the fleet is on starboard jibe running downwind. Audi All for One has a 270-meter lead over second place Quantum now. Yeah, we can hear that spinnaker is hoisting now on Audi Azura. Watch for it fills, and a jibe will come pretty shortly afterwards if they can get the thing filling. It looks like it has a twist or something. Here we go. Okay, they will probably jibe within minutes or within seconds of that being set. Vasco looking around to try and work out what he thinks. Do we want to jibe straight away, or we've lost so much that we need to stay out here and see if we can get something from a rougher sea or better breeze? Very, very expensive boat handling mistake there. We can see they've lost probably 350 meters on that situation, and now have a huge lateral separation from the rest of the fleet.
So that's to the advantage of Quantum and Rand. Quantum up to second, gaining there. That's a big lead early on in this race, Marcus, isn't it?
Well, it is, and it shows you just they were very close together, those two boats. We saw Audi All for One do a late call to do a jibe set there. We thought they were just going to do a bear away set, having left gone around the right-hand gate mark at the top, and it would seem to that they were much faster at reacting and were able to deal with it. Very frustrated there. Vasco Vascotto just doesn't. They can't. What do I do? Can't make up his mind. Do we stay here? Do we go? Very, very upset.
Really need to settle down and get the concentration back, don't they?
But they know that that was a crucial moment for them in this race. Very, very expensive situation. They'd sailed a good first beat.
So ran up there in third. Pretty solid first beat.
If you look at the leaderboard there, there's Quantum, Ran, Bribon and Container all within 60 meters of each other. In the middle here, there's a very good race going on. We mustn't be distracted by the fact that Audi All for One has a big jump and Audi Azura has fallen off the side of the course here with their problems. The middle there is really, really close, and I think we'll probably start to see some more interesting racing going on in there on that side shortly.
Seb, very close in the middle of the fleet just now then.
Well, we're right next to Audi Azura at the moment, and well, now they're starting to settle down and get the business, the job done. But what a drama they had, very late decision. Now we've got the fleet, obviously the Audi All for One has a massive lead. Going for a jibe set at the top mark, using the right shift to go before they jibe back. They've got a huge lead, very comfortable position for Audi All for One. The rest of the fleet, the five other boats are really close to each other, still with Bribon and I can see in the distance Bribon and Ran being in the middle of the course. Meanwhile, Quantum, Container are going further near the shore, expecting another big shift over there. But what a drama for Audi Azura. Again, you know, late call, late decisions, mad panic, crisis management, and terrible hoist for the Italian team.
So Marcus, how do they come back from this?
They've just got to be patient. They can get lucky. We see them coming in fast now, but there is a bit of a convergence going. They're already looking to be...
Yeah, certainly not terminal, is it?
No.
But it is close.
It's a long race. They've done...
there we go. A little bit quicker than the boats to their right. They were.
Well, Andy, Azura is significantly lower than the rest of the fleet. So they've got more pressure. The pressure is further right where we are now. So they are significantly lower and probably probably faster, I guess. But at least there's at least 5 to 10 degrees differences in bearing, as I can see from my naked eye.
Yeah, they seem to be getting back into the race, but they've got a long way to catch up with Audi All For One.
And Audi All For One making their jibe for the gate. We hear they're saying they're heading all the time on Audi Azzurra, which is not what they don't want to hear. They want to be freed so they can jibe and have a good angle going in, but it would look like they have a lot more wind out here offshore, which is kind of what you would expect, but at some stage they've got to go back and cash that in.
Lo vedo in mezzo e più lontano. Sì, credo che sia giusto il
So thinking about it now, I think.
Big puff here.
How things churn around though, look at that, by being forced out onto that side. The early part of the left-hand side of the run wasn't very good.
I'm watching.
And now things are coming a lot better.
Navigator Bruno Zerilli just taking a bearing on the leeward gate and the opposition. Monitoring progress.
Huge separation now, huge separation between these two.
Stand by, guy, next wave.
So they're going to jibe.
Lo tengo, soltalo.
That was a wave.
Ooh, not a very nice jibe there. That was a bit of a broach. Have it under control. You just need to settle down a bit there. No damage.
Cazza volante che tutto molle.
So there's that fleet coming down, having done the jibe set initially and jibed in the middle of the run. On their way to the gate.
So how's it looking in the middle of the course there, Seb, just now?
Well,
it's good for pressure.
Well, Audi All For One is within 20 seconds of dropping the spinnakers. They're just at the gate now, or very close to.
Yep.
Here we go, here comes the drop. I guess in 10 seconds you want to be safe doing a nice and easy drop. The rest of the fleet is in the middle of the course, 5 boats neck and neck, like within touching distance, with Azzurra coming back from the right-hand side of the course. But Quantum is leading the pack of 5 boats in the middle, leading and with Container and Brabham breathing down their neck. Look at the gap that Audi All For One managed to build. That's a minute and a half or 2 minutes lead at the bottom gate. It's massive, a massive lead. It's early days in this race. It's a very long race, but having a 2 minutes buffer of a fleet of 6 boats, it's very comfortable for the Franco-German team.
Indeed. Quantum doing pretty well, Marcus. A little bit of tension on board. I wonder what their debrief was yesterday.
Well, I think they have to realise where their problems are, but also come out realistically and say we've got to get on with doing what we've been doing well at the beginning of the year. And refocus on what the priorities are.
They seem to have done...
Oh, not a great drop on Brabham. The spinnaker's in the water there.
Kiwi left mark.
Very slow. Jib's not in. Not a great maneuver on the regatta leader. They're recovering from it okay. So this next leg is a lot longer. It's upwind again. I think they'll all have been looking at what progress Audi Azzurra has made on that long leg. on the other side, offshore, seeing if it's worth it to be offshore or inshore. I think they'll probably find that here's Audi Azura coming in now, so they're not a million miles behind. But interestingly, Container has decided to take the left, whereas everyone else is going offshore to the right.
Going straight.
We are. There must have been a bit of bias on that gate. We now have Ran, and I think that's Synergy on starboard tack as well. And there is.
Okay, stop. Tempi per la.
So this gives us a better perspective. That's the end of the first beat and run. We're now on a long 5-mile upwind leg, so probably 2.5 times as long as what they've just done. Similar rules will apply for the first part of this leg, Andy, where the left investment might be tempting for some of them, but really I think we're going to see that same situation where you've just got to stay in phase with those shifts. And we've just seen Audi All for One with that huge lead, tack back, loosely covering the whole fleet. They're sort of on line of beam now with all of the other boats, and the overhead perspective shows us where we are now. The weather mark was halfway up the course here towards that point where the breakwater is, and the next mark is around the corner there to the right.
Stand by, guys.
5 miles upwind. Container already shown to be sailing a much lower angle there on the left compared to Audi All for One on the right hand side. But they're heading in towards perhaps flat water, but they're not going to get it for a while.
Certainly you would expect more pressure offshore. That's what Audi All for One are looking for just now. A little bit of current, or more current as you go offshore, Marcus, I think.
Yeah, the current is the big unknown here, and I've heard a lot of them talking about where does the current turn, where does the eddy start, and they unfortunately have a much better perspective of where that edge is compared to us. We may have seen some interesting things going on there, but they'll be looking for flat water and rough water, or water changes to help them identify where the edge of the current is. Here we are back out on the water with Audi All for One. Significant lead on this coastal race already after just the first windward leeward section of this 20-mile long leg.
So Seb, looks like the breeze has picked up a little bit, perhaps.
Absolutely, the breeze is coming very strong from the right side, from the offshore. There's probably 22, 24 knots coming down in the distance. I can see that. It's white caps everywhere, and that's probably why the right-hand side, or the right side of the course where Audi All for One is, that is paying off so much, because there's more pressure, and the pressure is bending over the cape, and I can clearly see Container being 5 degrees lower than Audi All for One, or even more than that. So really, you definitely want to be on the right-hand side of the course at this stage. Maybe further up the track, the shore will be better near the harbour, but at the moment you want to be on the right hand side of the course, no doubt.
And from that point of view, Audi All for One protecting that side, and then in the box seats just now.
Well, they're in a very controlling position, Audi All for One. They've got about what, I'm not sure, 300 meters separation with Quantum, maybe 200 separation with Quantum, a little bit forward on them, and they're just powering up. The boat looks like it's flying on the water, just very comfortable. I mean, saying comfortable, it might not be the right word, because when you see how hard the crew is hiking, these guys might be suffering a little bit. So it's not very comfortable, but you know, they're in a very comfortable situation.
Indeed, it's going to be a long day.
A long day of hiking hard.
So Marcus, do we think the order is going to set for the day?
No, not at all. I think there's plenty of potential here. Certainly in the middle of the course, it's far too close, and there's still plenty of variation as to this 5-mile leg that they're on now that they've just started. We're on board Audi Azzurra sailing team looking under the boom. We can see Quantum there. It's, you know, fair distance ahead, but at the same time, this is a 5-mile leg. This is a long upwind leg, and we've seen who's been fast and slow in these conditions. And I know that Talua, further down to the left, there are some more boats, but we'll see some catching up, and we're going to see some place changes, no question about that. Whether Audi All for One can be caught or not, well, you'd have to say it's theirs to lose at this stage. Even though it's early in the race, they do have a pretty commanding lead. They just have to keep doing what they're doing, and on this leg of the course, that means staying in phase with the shifts. I have to say, Sebastian, looking at this view that you have, I think as well, it looks pretty soft on the left, on the inside there. The boat's coming back out on port compared to Audi Azzurra.
Well, yes, it is soft where the left fleet is. What's very significant, Marcus, is that you saw after the bottom gate, Audi All for One sailed for only a couple of minutes on port before they tacked onto starboard, and now they are already almost on ley line for the previous top mark. So it tells me that the wind has turned significantly to the right side. You know, like probably 20 degrees to the right hand side, because now they're almost going on a straight line to the previous top mark. So it's a massive right-hander at the moment, massive, and all to the benefit of Audi All for One, and also Audi Azzurra, who just managed to get 3 boats or even four boats behind them by just being extending their port tag earlier, and now on starboard just beneficiating from this massive right shift. So Audi Azzurra is still in the hunt, you know, like Audi Azzurra is battling with Bribham at the moment for third, or probably in front of Bribham actually. I can't really tell from here, but they're right back into it, the Italian boat.
Well, there you go, how things change. How things change.
That wind shift does appear to have delayed the start to the Soto 40s race, from what we've heard.
Well, we clearly could see it coming, this right shift, or this right pressure. The breeze was really coming in very, very strongly, and obviously there was more pressure on the right, but also a big right shift. So a massive gain for Audi Azzurra, and that's why now Quantum and Audi All for One are attacking as well, trying to protect this right-hand side of the course. Well, we thought that Audi Azzurra was buried. Well, they're right back into this race with Bribham. Bribham, they're fighting with Bribham for third. Bribham is further inshore, and they've got, at the moment, they do have a nice left shift. But will it stay like this?
So this is giving us a good perspective now. We're looking at the virtual situation. We can see Audi All for One with a nice lead. They're again in phase. They managed, we can see their course. They're being headed there before that tack. They've tacked away in the lead of everybody on the left-hand side now of the shift. And right behind them is Quantum in second, and Audi Azzurra really with an even higher angle there, and Bribham further out to the left. They're both sailing probably 10, 15, 20 degrees higher than the 2 lead boats. So we may well see Audi All for One and Quantum come back soon, but the gaps are huge here already, and Container has lost an awful lot, and Ran, who was up there at that mark as well, has also lost a huge amount. Look at the track of Synergy here on the left. Look at all that zigzagging that's been going on there with all of those shifts. So a hugely complex second beat here for these guys. Audi All for One seems to have been able to read it nicely and stay in phase. And Audi Azzurra has benefited massively being able to come back into it after a disastrous first run where the spinnaker was late hoist, very late hoist, and then having to drop it and sort something out before they could hoist it again.
Forse di più, 75. Keeping it fast, ok? Quindi il futuro tu lo vedi destro. Ok? Nice and easy, Siccio, we want to go fast.
The real danger here for Audi All For One, we're right next to them. They've just organised their boat to be ready to tack at any moment. The real danger for them is if this breeze that Bribon is in stays there, like near the shore, and as we come closer to the harbour, this breeze could go even further left for Bribon. So we could have a bit of a change. Soon, and that's a very difficult situation for Seb Coll to decide whether or not he needs to protect the right or the left, because the wind is really, like I can see Synergy, they're 20 degrees higher than Quantum at the moment, or even more.
So Marcus, this is the kind of dilemma that we were expecting in this race at round about this stage. Interesting situation for Audi All For One.
Yeah, no, I think they've got to live where they are. They're too far away. They can't go chasing that. It'll either come to them or they've lost those two guys. But we've seen so much happen already in this race. And remember that for all of this craziness on the upwind leg, they're going to have the same on the downwind too. So this race is going to keep all of those guys on their toes right up until they cross the finish line here in about 2 hours' time.
Nice view of the topography there, where you have this huge, long, flat plains up to the northeast behind it. The breeze accelerates down and then is compressed through the entrance to the harbour there in Cartagena. That's what Bribon are working with in Synergy just now. This big left-hander. It's all about how the breeze wraps around this headland here.
Well, Quantum is bailing out. They've decided to go back to where Bribon is. Couldn't wait any longer. You've got to make this decision at some stage. Either stick with your choice of staying on the right side in this right pressure, or go back to Bribon and Synergy over there. Because for the last 5 minutes, Bribon has made a significant gain by being in this left-hander on the other side.
There's still an awful long way to go here, and the geography is going to change again as they get closer to the shore. They're going to have to deal with the cliffs as they go along the probably last mile and a half of this upwind leg, and positioning yourself left or right now, even if it means taking a loss, is going to be fairly significant in terms of whether you want to be under those cliffs or offshore away from them.
That's right.
I think the Audi All For One guys realize they don't want to be near those cliffs. They want to be further offshore, even if it means taking a loss here. We've seen that sort of situation before with those guys. They love to be out in the open ocean with their boat where they know they're fast and unhindered and having to do a few attacks. But it's very different here, and we'll see how this pans out. But very difficult. Nobody has the answer.
That's right, and I think we saw before when, I think it was last year, we were racing tight under the cliffs round the point, and there was a real lot of brinksmanship going in, who would go in further, and I can't remember who it was, but the breeze just shuts off and suddenly you're stuck, and all the gains are on this long leg are suddenly evaporating. Quantums do seem to have good pressure there. And Synergy well to the left now as well, Seb.
Yeah, they're going further left. Bribon and Synergy were getting knocked. They were getting into this right pressure. So Synergy didn't hesitate, and they've elected to go near the shore. And they're going to stay there, hoping to have more lefty. But as I can see here, that Quantum is on a massive right shift, holding this shift as they come towards the harbour. And Audi All For One and Audi Azzurra are still extending on the right. To me, the right looks better at this stage, looks more pressured, and Audi will probably go on the other side of the harbour and go join into the coast a little bit further up the course. So you wouldn't expect Audi All For One to tack at the moment, probably extend for another few minutes.
We're on board Audi Azura, and they're getting ready for attack right now.
Yep.
Here we go.
It'll be interesting to follow the battle between Quantum and Audi Azura, because with this separation there, they're probably Azura will probably stay to this right-hand shift for much longer than Quantum.
Sorry, because I got caught down below with my backpack.
So starting to look quite gusty there, isn't it?
Gusty?
Yeah.
Well, gusty probably for Quantum that as they come closer to the shore, but for Audi All For One, there's no real issues. You know, like they've got very steady pressure. They are outside. They're really taking a bit of a gamble, if you ask me, just extending that far when everybody's going left and they're still going to the right. But at the moment they still have better pressure on the right-hand side. You know, the pressure is steadier.
Maybe they're looking for some flatter water, Sebastian, on the Quantum.
You're talking about Quantum, yes. Yes, they do have much flatter water, and probably a better angle than Audi, as now Quantum is on port.
Well, the view we have here, looking from your perspective there, Sebastian, straight upwind at a very small boat against a very dominant set of cliffs, kind of explains why all of these shifts are happening, and it's blowing right over the top of that, right down to the course. Now we can see Quantum on port tack coming back across. From the perspective of the afterguard on Audi Azura sailing team, I think they still have a pretty comfortable margin over the blue boat.
There we go, Audi All For One just tacked now, they're coming back.
Infatti, quindi per corrente, no?
The left.
Quanta corrente qua, Bruno?
There's a massive separation, you know, several hundred meters between Quantum and Audi All For One.
Okay. Non ha guadagnato comunque. È uguale a prima, forse noi più vicini. Però non stiamo puntando troppo bassi, non mi dispiace qua, Vasco.
22-13.
Ok, contiamo un bearing, lo faccio io se vuoi. Un bearing con Audi e vediamo se migliora.
So Quantum seems to be crossing reasonably comfortably then. If you just joined us, we're probably halfway up, or getting close to halfway up along 5 Mile Beat, the third leg of the 30-mile coastal race, the penultimate day of the Audi Med Cup Circuits region of Murcia Cartagena Trophy, as they rounded the first leeward gate mark. A big lead for Audi All For One, the Franco-German boat, skippered by Jochen Schumann, with Sebastian Koll as tactician. They're heading upwind as we fly up towards where the windward mark will be, just set in off that headland, Marcus.
Cabo del Agua. So the perspective here shows us nicely what's been going on. Audi All For One there on the middle right-hand side. Quantum coming across with the red tail, and firmly in second place now.
They look quite decent.
Looking very comfortable there. And Audi Azura with the white trail in third place. But they're probably going to be close to Container, who is really making a big play for the right-hand side. So this is the perspective looking downwind from the next weather mark. As you can see, they're probably only a third of the way up this leg. It's a long way to go, and look at the size of those cliffs. Just off that headland there in the middle is where the weather mark is, and they have a long downwind leg for 5 miles to about a point where Container is right now. They jibe and then go into the Pigeon Island, which is about near the S of Synergy, and then upwind into the harbour of Cartagena, where the finish will be right here inside the harbour, the main harbour, just in front of the marina, right behind where we are sitting right now.
Of course, Cartagena, the 4th year that we've been here. We always get a tremendous welcome from the locals here. They love the Audi Med Cup. It's a big part of their summer season.
Well, now look what's happening here. We're going to have a cross, Audi All for One and Quantum. Audi All for One still in control, but no question that Quantum is starting to look impressively strong in second place there. Container coming back from the right-hand side. Not really sure whether that's worked for them here yet, and we can see Synergy there on Port Tack, right on the left-hand side coming across. Lot to go here, a lot to go, but that's the current situation. Quantum has tacked to leeward of Audi All for One. So those two boats, first and second.
So Seb, Quantum making some inroads into Audi All for One, perhaps?
Well, I can't really comment, Andy. We've just drove back all the way to the start line to be with the Soto 40s, but they are in the 4-minute sequence, so the TP52 are miles away from us, so I can't really see anything now.
Okay, well, we'll come back to you shortly, Seb. I think we're going to go and join the start sequence for the Soto 40s, who are going into their first of 2 windward-leeward races. As we said earlier, they will finish the second race in the harbour, just over 3 minutes till their start. Ngoni, the British team, with Kevin Sproul steering and skippering, is leading the series. They were saying that in terms of their strategy, they watch Iberdrola as the benchmark and then try to do just a little bit better. So how are things looking for the Soto start, Seb?
Very choppy, very choppy. There's a lot of pressure on the right-hand side of the course. And they've changed the start line a fair bit since the TP52 started a moment ago. They've moved the pin much higher because the wind has turned right. So again, you know, like the left side of the course will probably be shifty, but the pressure is much steadier on the right-hand side, with probably 20 knots of breeze out of the course, and 16 to 18 on the left.
Will be some good sport, Marcus, for the Sotos.
Well, I think this is the conditions that they love. We've seen them racing in strong breezes in Marseille and in Cagliari and in Cascais right at the beginning of the season when we were introduced to this class, and there's no question that we're going to see plenty more here. This is going to be very good day, I think, for Iberdrola, who have been by far the strongest in these strong boat handling conditions. We've seen some good comebacks here from NH Resorts. Noticia 4, they've really got it together over the last couple of days here. And also, I'm really looking forward to seeing how Ngoni, the current leader, will handle these conditions. Certainly with somebody of the ilk of Kevin Sproul steering the boat. So here we are in the last minute to the start.
So Seb, talk us through the last minute into the start. How's it shaping up?
We're right there, really near the start line, and Iberdrola is like literally 10 meters from us. They want the committee end of the start line. They will get it. I don't think 22 will be able to close the door on Iberdrola. There'll be a clear start for Iberdrola. They really definitely want the right-hand side of the course.
30
the Spanish
seconds.
team. Meanwhile, starting to build speed. Time and distance is key now for NH Resort. They're in the middle of the line, and they will have to. It's very hard to judge now.
15.
The Australians are trying to get the gap between getting the gap between Iberdrola and the race committee boat. It's a success for them, but the start goes. To. I'm not too sure who did get that start. Ngoni, I think, took a pretty decent start in the middle of the line, but Iberdrola is at pace. They've just managed to be just a bow forward on the Australian boat, and Iberdrola is in good shape at this stage.
Well, that was interesting to see. Is obviously a definite play here for the right-hand side with the Australians. They haven't sailed in these conditions before. I really question how long they're going to be able to live there to weather of Iberdrola. We already saw that mainsail wasn't surviving. I'm not sure if their trim setup was right for that, but Iberdrola is going to really squeeze it here. But the reason they started there is because they want the right, and so it's not the end of the world to tack away and be the first to pick up the right.
That's right, and Ngoni making a decent start, relatively conservative, but just trying to get themselves a little bit of separation off the line and build some boat speed early. Seems to be doing a reasonable job of that.
So we're on board Cruiser Racer here, I think. Is that right, Andy? And
right,
they are tacking away. They were in the dirt of Ngoni. We can just see Ngoni there disappearing ahead. So dipping behind the two boats that started on the right. This is Iberdrola with the green sails.
That's right, this is Tony Gio, the
and
skipper helm.
Looks like the Australians already tacked away to the right.
Yeah, they had to bail out the Australians. They were getting hammered by Iberdrola, and they had a terrible tag. You know, the Australians, they're very new to this class, and a very difficult start in this, very difficult tag in this massive chop that the Soto 40s has had to face. And it was really hard for the Australian team to get the boat across the wind and build speed again. So they made a significant loss right after the start.
Well, they look pretty comfortable here on port tack coming out this way. The advantage line just being readjusted there. We can see that on the left-hand side, Ngoni, Iberdrola, NH Resorts, all very close together, all absolutely on the same advantage line. Here on the right-hand side, Cruiser Racer, an Australian team, heading out with much more freer space of water to operate in.
On Cruiser Racer, we're hearing the voice of Sabine Schumann, a German tactician who lives in Barcelona. She's an amateur, sails with this team all the time though. They've been sailing a Synergia 40 and just finished third at the Copa del Rey. So this will be a little bit of a step up for them, but it is, as we said yesterday, a long-term investment for them. They're looking to do the circuit next year, perhaps. They have a new boat coming for Barcelona. So if you've just joined us, this is the start of the first of two races today for the Soto 40s. Just early in the first beat, and Iberdrola, Ngoni and NH Resorts dragging out to the left side of the first beat. Nothing in it just now between Iberdrola and Ngoni. Iberdrola have a small lead. Seb, how's it looking on the water?
Well, we're just next to the Australians and on Patagonia, and they've decided to go where the stronger pressure is. And it looks, it's a very different situation than what we had with the TPs, where the wind has settled on the right, and there's no significant losses to be made on the far left like we had Brabant in the previous race. So now it's just a matter of finding the right spot, the right piece of water, and using the shifts as they come. But for the moment, the Australians are really going for the right-hand side of the course.
Well, just to remind our viewers that the TP52s are on their coastal race. They're out of range of our cameras, which is why we're concentrating on the Soto 40 class now. They're on a long upwind leg to Cabo del Aqua, and when we left them, the Audi All for One was in the lead from Quantum. Third place was being played out between Audi Azura, who'd made a fantastic recovery from a big problem they had on the first run. You can follow that race on virtual, and although the information is breaking up from time to time because of the cliffs breaking the signal, you can still keep up to speed on what then we'll bring you updates as we get information about that race. Meanwhile, here on the Soto 40 class, you can see that gradual left-hand wind shift for the boats that went to the left. They were being headed as they went in across there, and they have now tacked. Iberdrola is the first to have tacked. I think, no, the last two have tacked, and they still lead slightly from Ngoni and NH Resorts, very, very close. And then on the right-hand side, Cruiser Racer has tacked back. At the moment, they are lagging a little bit behind. We'll see as they converge, because there is quite a lot of lateral separation. You'll see quite which side has been the best. More wind on the right-hand side, but certainly a better shift on the left.
La burla está muerte. Muerte, le puedo dar más, Pues dale. Venga, por ahí.
There we go, the Australians are going through attack. Coming back from being the furthest right. Well, I don't think it doesn't look too flash for the Australians at this stage, with this big left shift that Marcus was talking about. Iberdrola in the distance, although there's a massive separation. I can't really see Iberdrola, but definitely a big loss for the Australians.
Yeah, Marcus, we're just seeing the mainsail on the Aussie boat ragging a little bit.
Yeah, that's the first time they've spent any time on starboard tack in these seas, and with that kind of wind shift going on, it doesn't necessarily mean that the seas are oriented to the wind, so their setup on starboard tack is probably all wrong. They'll get that under control shortly. Need to twist off the jib a little bit and bring on more and more runner. Yes.
As you can see on NH.
So yeah, interestingly, those three boats on the left have tacked back again. It's a fantastic race. It's really good now to start to see that those three boats are all competitive. Iberdrola, Ngoni and NH Resorts. Really starting to see the benefit of this One Design class in terms of the closeness of the racing. And hopefully by the time this boat gets to the next regatta in Barcelona, they'll have learned some lessons. And will be competitive too.
I think they should have their new boat by then. So Iberdrola appear to have extended a little bit over Ngoni. Seem to be sailing slightly higher. Iñaki Castaner and the crew of NH Resorts in third. Iñaki and his crew sailed here, or some of his crew sailed here last year with the GP42 circuit. And previous to that, Iñaki was here with the TP52s back in the day. So it's an area he knows as well as anyone. The tactician is Gustavo D'Aresti.
From that incredible Spanish sailing dynasty.
That's right. We can talk about that another time.
Well,
but
we can, because I have no idea who's who. They're just a massive dynasty, and they're all very, very good.
There are two sections anyway, one from the Canary Islands.
Now, I've just noticed something on Ngoni, just tacking now. They have a slightly smaller hoist jib. You can see there the head doesn't go all the way to the top compared to NH Resorts. Ngoni leading this regatta at the moment with a pretty significant margin, actually, in the big scheme of things. These races are not for extra points in the Soto 40 class. It's just the same as yesterday. Factor of 1.
It's interesting, although we said the other day, Marcus, that, or you were saying earlier, that Kevin's a very experienced and accomplished helmsman in his own right. He is better known as a tactician, and this will be the first time that he's steered in the race in this kind of pressure, this kind of wind speed and sea state. So it'll still take him a little time to get settled in.
jib's very full that they have there on that boat. I don't know if you saw that on the Ngoni, but it gives you some perspective as to where they are relative to each other. Iberdrola realise who is competitive out of these two, and well, that Ngoni is seriously competitive compared to previous regattas, and Iberdrola has a lot of work to do to catch up that points deficit that they have. Currently in third place, if I'm not mistaken, Andy.
That's right, they're on
equal points with NH Resorts.
So we are back on board with Cruiser Racer. Seb, how's it developing up this beat? Seb?
Yes?
Yeah, just wondering how things are looking from your perspective on this beat.
Well, this group of three boats. We are a little bit far out of on the right hand side of the course, trying to stay right clear of the Australian boat.
Well, Sebastian, we've seen a big change here. This is Cruiser
the
Racer.
The wind is just turning right big time at the moment. Massive header for Iberdrola.
So Cruiser Racer in second place now, just crossed just behind Iberdrola, and has crossed ahead of Ngoni and may well cross ahead of NH Resorts.
Yeah, they're right back into this, and I can't wait to see the Australians getting across the fleet. I thought they were miles behind, but with this right shift, they could be not far off. Although they have a problem with their mainsail, the Australians. They have the leeward runner. Okay, they're going to go through a tack. But you can tell these guys need more hours on this boat, as they take the runner really early before the tag.
I believe they're used to sailing far 40s, and if I'm not mistaken, they're a runner-free zone, the far 40.
Correct. So they seem to forget that they've got a runner from time to time, which is fair enough. But we're really close to the port ley line. Very close to the port ley line with Iberdrola. Still in very good shape. Still in very good shape. The Spanish boat.
Certainly good to see Cruiser Racer in the mix, though. Best result so far has been a fourth, otherwise it's been 4/5 over the 5 races so far.
So here's the overhead perspective from Virtual Eye, showing us what's been going on. The Australians still on the right-hand side, but there's the weather mark and there's the ley lines. The Australians in the middle of the course, still quite a long way to go up this beat for those boats. And these the two pairs on the left, Ngoni and Iberdrola, sticking close to each other. Interesting that, because I think Kevin Sproul knows that all they've got to do is stay close to Iberdrola, and there may not be enough points on the board for them to be beaten if they're just one place behind all the time, rather than taking any risks and getting too separated, especially when they'll have seen what was going on with the TP52s earlier and the massive amount of place changes that were going on up this beat. Stay close to them, stay in phase with them, minimize the losses. And they also probably are thinking about how the downwind legs are going to happen in this strong stuff. They have enough experience on board that boat to be able to handle it downwind, and they're probably thinking that the Australian and Cruiser Racer boat with less experience are going to struggle a little bit downwind and not have the boat handling skills to be able to keep the pace on that these boats are able to manage. Wow, the Australians looking pretty good.
To pay a little bit for the Aussies. Seb, which side of the course are you? You're out with the Aussies, are you?
I think he's about here. He's behind them all there. But yeah, no, this is a very interesting situation developing. This is exactly what Ngoni was worried about, knowing who they've got to stay ahead of or who's going to be quick in these conditions and staying close to them rather than taking a risk one side or the other of the course. 1 minute it's the right, the next minute it's the left, then the right again.
So for sure, stay with the opposition as close as possible.
It's interesting to see this pair here, Cruiser Racer and NH Resorts. NH Resorts really beginning to squeeze on the pressure here into the bow. Number 22 to windward is going to possibly be bounced away shortly. Again, this is about time on the boat. Confident sailing the boat.
Fantastic shots there, absolutely neck and neck. As you say, 21 just applying the thumb screws to 22 progressively. Don't think they'll live there for long. Nice,
one bad wave and it's all over. And here we are on board Cruiser Racer 22, bow number 22, and we can see the situation from their perspective.
Tony Gio looking a little bit concerned now. You can see under the bow to Iberdrola there out to the right. Seem to have a nice, nice clear lane for the moment. Nobody troubling them. Ngoni to leeward, but that does seem to be the battle just now. The Australian team still doing pretty well in third. That left side not so good for NH Resorts and for Cruiser Racer just now, Seb. Seb, how far to the windward mark now then for the?
Iberdrola is about a minute and a half from the windward gate. It looks to me that the right mark, sorry, not the gate, so the windward mark, and they're going to tag very shortly to be on the ley line. There we go. They're getting set up for attack.
The Australian team there is tacked earlier.
That there's not much in it, you know, like all these guys are still very close to each other, just a few boat lengths. That's the beauty of sailing very strict one design, so you can have very good racing with Iberdrola attacking on the ley line and with immediately followed by Ngoni. There's two boats coming on port. We've got two boats coming on port there. I wonder if, yeah, NH Resort. And I wonder if they'll be able to squeeze in between Iberdrola and Ngoni. Yeah, NH Resort, no problem. They'll run in second place. There we go, Iberdrola at the top mark now. Bit of a close call between these two here. Better tack now. There we go, there's a call from Ngoni's tactician. Red flag is Ngoni has protested the NH Resort. Green flag, no penalties.
Very close.
NH Resort was smart to just cross on port and not tack in Ngoni's water. So it doesn't change anything. Ngoni is second after NH Resort tacked. And unfortunately for the Australians, they were not on the ley line, and they had to do a double tack that proved extremely costly. But there's only about 30 seconds between these 5 boats, which will make it a very interesting downwind run, especially for second place. Iberdrola is just 15 seconds ahead or a bit more. But a very tight battle will develop for second place, I'm sure, between Ngoni and NH Resort.
Okay, well, hold on, everybody. Hold on tight, because here starts the ride.
So Cruiser Racer just getting settled there, getting the kite drawing. The first surf.
Sorry.
Well, Iberdrola the first to jibe away there from Ngoni. They've decided to go looking for that shift if they haven't already got it. NH Resorts next. Now Ngoni is significantly staying on starboard. Obviously feel they're in a gust and we can see the numbers coming down. It's Ngoni has a good pressure, they're in a good angle. See the way they all stack them right at the back there, get the whole crew over on the side.
A VIP on board Iberdrola today. I believe it's the son of the Duchess of Alba, who's a very wealthy socialite. Maybe he could be tempted to have
now look what's been going on. Meanwhile, whilst we've had our eye off the ball, Ngoni, the jibe later, have closed up that gap massively to down to just 20 meters and still dropping. Iberdrola will be looking under the boom, wondering when it's going to come good for them again, but even NH Resorts is moving in pretty fast there as well. Still a very close race. Ngoni on the right-hand side, just about to take the lead.
Another good call then on board Ngoni, navigator tactician Tim Burnell, an Aussie, who's based in the Hamble. I'd imagine a few viewers in the Hamble today, Marcus, perhaps?
Oh, I should think they're all out sailing, aren't they, on a day like today, Andy?
They're all Ngoni fans.
More of the Scottish sailing fans will be looking after their own.
With their one computer.
So that just continues to drop. That separation is pretty wide, and Ngoni is just about to go into the lead here. 3 meters on the advantage line with Virtual Eye.
So Ngoni looking good there.
And there we have it.
Yeah, Ngoni is looking very good, but we're just right next to the Australian team, and there seems to be sailing much faster than the other one, than the Iberdrola. I don't know how they do that, the Australians, but it looks to me that they manage to stay on the waves for much longer than the other. You know, like shaking the boat a fair bit. You could see the helmsman working really hard on this boat, but it seems to me that they maintain a very high speed for a touch longer.
Sebastian, I'm really surprised at you for talking like that. The Australians, they know about surfing. That's what they're all about.
Of course they do, from Western Australia.
So here's Ngoni coming in at speed from the right-hand side of the run. It's very close. All of these boats all close together as they converge. Fantastic racing going on here in the Soto 40 class. Oh, Ngoni's lost quite a lot there suddenly. So we touch and go with NH Resorts. So in spite of those big gaps between them, big separation, there hasn't really been a massive change in the status quo since the top mark.
So on board Cruiser Racer seem to have lost a little bit on this run. Reverting to English with 2 Greek sailors on board as well. Spanish and German. So NH seem to have profited a little bit as well.
Are you here?
Yes, I will do that. I will do that.
Okay, let's go. When you're ready.
Where do we go? Where do we go?
So business as usual then for Iberdrola as they approach the leeward gate.
Let's go in this way.
How's the gate looking, Seb?
Well, the gate, I was looking at that, and the gate, there's a mark missing at the gate. Oh, we lost you. Am I still with you, Andy?
No, absolutely, yeah. Fire away.
Okay, yeah, there's a mark missing at the gate, so it's been replaced by a rib with a missing mark flag on it. And Iberdrola is just a few seconds. There you go. Here's the drop, the Spinnaker drop for Iberdrola. Nice and safe for the Spanish team. Spinnaker in the hatch, or almost in the hatch, before they can wind the boat up. A big battle between NH Resort and a somewhat difficult drop on NH Resort that pushed it a little bit too far. But thank God for them, Ngoni's got the same issue. So a bit messy drop. A bit of a messy drop from NH Resort and Ngoni. That will play in Iberdrola's favour. Just decided to drop their Spinnaker really safe. Put their Spinnaker away way before the mark. And the fleet is going back up to the top mark. Seems like a very long, hard work to get back up there against these waves. for a reward that lasted, what, 10 minutes of accelerating run on the Spinnaker. These boats look pretty, a lot of fun. The Soto 40s looks a lot of fun on the Spinnaker. The Australians are going through attack once again. You can tell that these guys are not used to have a runner backstays. They seem to take the runner backstays really early. The situation is that we've got Iberdrola going right, far right at the moment with Ngoni, both of them. Both of them are going right.
So our overhead perspective with Virtual Eye showing us what's going on. Iberdrola and Ngoni, as you said, they're going right. Nearly 100-meter gap now between Iberdrola and Ngoni. That was an expensive leeward mark rounding for the British boat. And NH Resorts off to the left again, making that investment early, or considering that they're in phase for what is going on out there.
Certainly exposes Ngoni a little bit more, doesn't it?
What do you do, left or right?
So Seb, left or right upwind, what would be your choices just now for Ngoni and NH? The key battle just now.
Well, now mate, it looks to me that there's more pressure on the right-hand side of the course. Well, there's definitely more pressure, but again, you know that we know that the shift, the top end of the course is left. But the top mark are really offshore now, and that's what we saw in the previous leg, when the top mark where in the right hand side wind, the wind was coming from the right at the top mark. So I would put my money on Iberdrola and Ngoni at the moment.
Yeah, we can see the trail of NH going up and down a little bit. Breeze is a little bit more changeable to the left.
Yes, NH is he's in the header at the moment. That's pretty obvious. It's strange how a little separation, which is not huge, you know, the separation is not huge between these two boats, can make a huge difference in terms of wind direction. Looks like the boats from the left are really affected, good or bad, you know, but the wind is changing significantly when Iberdrola and Ngoni, they're just having a steady course.
So pretty physical work on board Cruiser Racer for the team. Still needing to get that mainsail settled and driving a bit.
Yeah, probably they need to open their jib a little bit. Probably a bit over-trimmed on the jib.
Crank on some more runner.
Be brave. points as they went on the water this morning. Ngoni led by 5 points ahead of Iberdrola. NH Resorts are also on 12 points. Patagonia lying 4th on 20 points. Cruiser Racer in 5th on 24. So as Marcus was saying earlier, really the one strategy for Ngoni is to try and stay close to Iberdrola under this set of circumstances anyway. Indeed, just now staying in the same line out to the right there. Iberdrola still dragging out to the right. They now lead by 100 metres on Ngoni. Turning the tables on the first 2 races yesterday, Ngoni won both quite comfortably in the tactical light wind conditions. It's a different set of circumstances, different game today, Marcus.
It is no question it is. This is what they have been competitive at all the way through, and they've advanced their game by racing in Cascais with the same crew and Marseille and Cagliari in all of these conditions. NH Resorts has had a few different people, but significantly Ngoni that sailing well in the earlier races here. I mean, they're still sailing well now, but this is their first time sailing in these conditions with current skipper Kevin Sproul steering the boat, so he'll be just getting used to it. There was a few boat handling issues there. They lost some distance there at the leeward mark, which is a bit unforced error, which we saw Iberdrola drop early to a nice conservative rounding.
It's that when you're alongside another boat doing exactly the same manoeuvres at the same time, then it's not easy to be conservative.
We have quite a few comments on our Facebook page here about the racing. I'd like to apologise to Australians if you think that I think you don't know how to handle runners. Of course you do. It was just a remark that there weren't any runners on a far 40. Interesting situation here with the cross coming. NH Resorts has done pretty well out there on the left-hand side. Now, this is not what Kevin Sproul and the Ngoni crew wanted to happen. They had a choice earlier on whether to stay on the right with Iberdrola or cover NH Resorts. They chose to stay on the right, and the left has come good, and we see now that Ngoni has dropped a place, or dropped distance I would say, because they were beside NH Resorts at that leeward mark, but they've lost some more distance.
There we see NH Resorts passing behind Iberdrola.
Yep, I definitely made the wrong call there, Andy, calling it for the right when obviously the left has paid. Probably flatter water. And a bit of a left shift for NH Resort. So they're going to probably tack straight on Ngoni, you would expect. There we go, here comes the tack.
We can see here the two head sail setups that are slightly different. You can see that Kevlar yellowy sail, Aramid Kevlar on Ngoni. Doesn't go quite to the top. It's the number 3, code 3. They're only allowed 3 jibs on these boats. We'll have to ask them later if they felt that they'd made the right choice. So we're going to go and have a look at the TP52 race. Remember, they're on their coastal race. When we left them, they were about a third of the way up a 5-mile weather leg on the way to Cabo del Aqua. And this was the situation. Audi All for One was leading quite comfortably from Quantum. Audi Azura very, very close, had made a very strong recovery. They stayed offshore quite a lot. Quantum was the first to come back in and start to move it back to the cliffs. But Audi All for One been sailing very confidently here, positioning themselves well. Wow, look at that big lift there on the inside there. Still very, very complicated. Oh, something happened to Audi All for One there. May have been some telemetry issues there, but Audi All for One went around that in the lead and headed off with Audi Azura inshore, but so it's a very close race there. Offshore again, which side do you take? Offshore, inshore?
This is where it gets interesting as you start to have the pressure coming down the right, down that valley. Audi Azura furthest right, you'd expect them to start to profit a little bit as they get further down here.
And so we look across that fleet, we can see the 3 leaders all very close to each other, all within just meters. Boat lengths, and Bribon in the mix there again as well. Here is their downwind mark or corner mark. They have to leave this little circle to starboard before they come into the Pigeon Island. Now Container there is a long way off, and so is Synergy. I don't know whether they've broken something or whether they've just been completely out of phase, but this is very significant. And back to the Soto 40 class. Iberdrola in control of this race now. Ngoni and NH Resorts having a battle for second place. Yeah, so that was very significant what we saw there. I think this is the point scoring race.
Yes.
Quantum's going to jump back up into a strong position again.
Just what they needed at the right time.
Yeah.
So of course there's a long way to go in that race, but certainly Quantum in the money just now. Audi All for One following up a good day yesterday. Back on the rise as well. And Container a long way back, and they were seriously challenging the overall lead in the circuit for Quantum Racing yesterday. It's amazing how things change over the course of one race. Particularly these coastal races carry points and a half multiplier. Anyway, here's Iberdrola approaching the windward mark in the Soto 40s. With NH just to leeward there.
That's Ngoni,
oh,
isn't
so
it?
Ngoni, isn't it? So Seb, Iberdrola approaching the windward mark.
Yeah, they're just about 2 and a half minutes from the top mark. They're not on the ley line, so they'll have to tack twice. But they managed to build a comfortable lead before the last run to the finish. The Spanish team, I don't know, I'm not sure about the distance. We've got that on the virtual eye, but definitely a leg that Iberdrola controlled from start to finish, extending their lead on Ngoni and NH Resort.
And this duel between NH and Ngoni, what are the options for Ngoni?
Well, will they take the risk and tack to leeward of NH Resort? I doubt, and they're going to cross behind and aim at the ley line. But there's not much in it between these two boats. You know, a nice hoist and just a wave can make the difference for second place.
We've seen some very composed sailing on Iberdrola, as we've come to expect this season, Marcus.
Yeah, they're
really,
very much back in their comfort zone here, sailing in these conditions. They know exactly where all the settings are. They've worked together in conditions like this and worse all season long, so it's pretty much second nature to them. They're a stable crew and a mature product.
We will see an interesting situation for NH Resort, because I don't think, with the Iberdrola on their face, I don't think NH Resort will reach the mark. There you go, double tack for NH Resort. Meanwhile, Iberdrola rounding the top mark with a significant lead of a second place NH Resort. Very comfortable on the Iberdrola in this strong condition. And the battle is really for second place between NH Resort and Ngoni. There's a couple of boat lengths between these two, and I guess the last run to the finish will be interesting between these two boats.
Oh, and another shoot.
Oh, this is costly.
That's very costly, yeah.
Maybe an opportunity for Ngoni now, right?
Very good. Yep. Again, NH Resort was a bit low on their ley lines.
So Ngoni, never say die, back in it in the battle for second. Saw them take two opportunist finishes the last few days, Marcus.
Indeed, and there's the Australian team just crossed ahead of Cruiser Racer. It's very close, even for fourth and fifth. Anything can happen. One maneuver, one bad jibe or set, and the boat behind comes roaring through.
Nice rounding from the Aussies there. Not giving anything away. So still pretty frantic on board Cruiser Racer.
Not a lot of people on the weather rail, are there?
Yeah.
The hoist on NH Resort and Ngoni, neck and neck. I can tell you, I can give you
better settled, quicker.
Give you a little tip, Andy, that they can see in the corner of my eyes that Audi Azzurra is leading the coastal race. I don't know what happened, but Audi Azzurra has managed to sail in front of Audi All for One. Bit of a turn of fortune there for the Italian team.
We're going to try and have a quick look at the situation with the TP52s. As Seb just said, Audi Azzurra coming back, we believe, to lead the coastal race. Have a look at that in a few seconds, but this is NH, right of picture, leading Ngoni. Ngoni just a little bit slower in the acceleration away from the mark. But a big lead for Iberdrola now then. 320 metres as we leave the Soto 40 course. As we head towards the finish, we're going to join the TP52s, and indeed Audi Azzurra with the smallest of margins, only 5 seconds over Audi All for One.
Well, what a comeback for them. They had, remember that shocking weather mark rounding, and they were neck and neck with Audi All for One at the top mark at the gate, and they made a bad call at the top mark and a late hoist, and they had to drop it again. They lost a huge amount of distance and got separated from the fleet, and they got it back under control. We could see the visual frustration on Vasco Vascotto's face, and he managed to compose himself and the crew, and they got back into it, and they were in good shape really at the end of that first run. They'd managed to pull back a couple of places, and then on the beat we saw that they came offshore for a bit longer than everybody else. And here we see them now reaching in. Mainsail just dragging there. These two boats, oh, there's a little tear in the spinnaker, I think, there on Audi Azzurra sailing team. Just on the foot, you can just see a little dark patch there.
It's interesting how the tactical patterns repeat themselves from year to year. I remember last year Matador working the left, going up the similar beat and profiting then. And again, they always like the right downwind. The breeze heads now from the right as the...
Okay, they're doing
a change.
No, it's a reach. They were below course, and so they're coming up to Pigeon Island.
Okay, good angle there, no more.
So the significant thing here is the power that these two Audi boats have on this two-sail reaching. These are very stable boats, and I expect to see them move ahead or move forwards on the other boats immediately behind them on this point of sail. Sebastian, what do you see?
Well, what I saw was that Audi Azzurra had a tear in the spinnaker, and they decided to drop the spinnaker early. Meanwhile, Audi All for One carried the spinnaker a little bit longer. So it's just fascinating to see the blue boat. Once again, these two very powerful boats, neck and neck. But Jochen Schumann is carrying his spinnaker a little bit longer, and maybe we'll have a change of a leader again, because it looks to me that Azzurra dropped the spinnaker really early. But the wind is turning left. It's turning left now, and Audi All for One is going for the drop.
Yeah, look at the lateral separation. Look what they're losing with that spinnaker. You'd have to assume Audi Azzurra is on the rum line or slightly above the heading to the mark. Keep it as fast as possible. They'll be watching to see. There goes the spinnaker now. So already we can see the big gap that those two Audi boats have pulled out on Quantum and Bribon. You can see the rail lead on that jib sheet. get it under control and head up a little bit for the Pigeon Island, which is the next mark of the course. It's an island, a little rocky island, just off the coast here.
It's another 5 mile leg, something like that, isn't it?
Yes. So there's the two Audi boats side by side.
This will be the first time I think we've seen such a long two-sail reach.
Well, we had that very long two-sail reach in Cagliari, which really showed these two boats' potential. Just wonder whether the Audi All for One guys didn't leave that a little bit too late.
Certainly Azzurra looking good there, aren't they?
So they've got a nicer angle now with that puff of wind, whereas Audi All for One seems to be just
having to push a little too hard, aren't they?
A little bit
higher angle.
But I really believe that these two boats will be doing damage on. Note that leaderboard should be ignored. It's not really very helpful from the distances. We can see the overhead perspective. That little orange circle is the island, Pigeon Island. I'll let you decide why it's called Pigeon Island, Andy.
It's named after a pigeon.
There you go. And Bribon and Quantum in the match there. And looking further back, Ran, Container and Synergy have come back into this a little bit, but so what is that? That's 2 places between Quantum and Container at the moment.
Of course, we're on points and a half.
Points and a half, yeah.
So every boat, every position in this race is absolutely vital. Audi Azzurra profiting all the time. Look at that speed differential, a knot and a half all the time on Audi All for One, and also Audi All for One versus Quantum. Quantum a little bit quicker on the same line as Azzurra.
With a better angle, yes. That was looking like it was a mistake to have held that spinner for quite that amount of time. It's always deceptive, that one. It's always a difficult choice. Certainly in a place like this where it's gusty, you really have to be thinking ahead about the relative positions of the other boats and their relative so
there we leave Azzurra and have a quick look at Iberdrola just through the finish line. I think first place, their second win in a row in the Soto 40 class. And then it looks like Ngoni coming back with the second, with a decent lead over NH Resorts. And a battle between Cruiser Racer and the Aussies for 4th and 5th, perhaps.
Yeah, I wonder if the Australian team's a little bit low on that committee boat ley line. They'll be going, pushing it hard. Their speed, it's a little bit faster than the Cruiser Racer. Yeah, there's a good surf there now for them. Look at that, 16 knots. They may well get through. But here's Ngoni going to do a last soak down to get across the line to take second place. Oh, look at that. 3-4 knots difference between the Australian team and Cruiser Racer. It could be
close.
Could be close here.
NH Resorts will be a little bit disappointed with that. They sailed a pretty good race and just pipped by Ngoni on that final run.
But this is for 4th place here. The Australian team probably just needing a little bit more runway to go on. Very surge. There's a nice surge. Are they going to make it? I think they are. I think they have done it.
It's just going to get there. What a result for them. Oh yeah. 4th place, I think, just pipping the Barcelona crew on Cruiser Racer then. So Ngoni will be happy with their second, I guess, having watched Iberdrola sail away from them a little bit on that first beat. from there it was a little bit of damage limitation, and they got back into NH Resorts.
Well, now look what's happened here is very interesting. As Audi All For One has lost second place. Here is the leader, Audi Azura Sailing Team, and that must be Pigeon Island. That rock. Don't see any pigeons there, Andy.
I was just going to say the same thing.
But look at the situation here. It's quite a big rock. A lot of very difficult here. Very easy to lose a lot of distance. There'll be some compression here. The teams will all sail up to each other. Oh.
Of course,
not really what they want to see. And here's the wind around the back of it. They're on the wind here. Here it comes. Keep it under control. They'll be tacking shortly.
There we go. Nice view of Pigeon Island.
So this last leg now is about 4 miles long, but it's going to be upwind all the way. Lots of tacking along the cliffs. Look at Vasco and Francesco Bruni looking upwind, trying to work out what. Ooh, look at this here. Very interesting to see the next three boats all beside each other. Bribon right back up in this, and Quantum too. So Quantum's jumped forward to second place. Here's the first tack from Audi Azura, and look at that. Quantum has a massive lift. I think this is going to be very, very tricky. They will all cut the corner, and they're going to tack inside them.
Nice work from Quantum.
Very good. This is very, very interesting. This race is starting again right here.
So position of Audi Azura is pretty strong there. This is going to be fascinating up to the finish. We expect it to get increasingly shifty, more and more gusty as they come up towards the harbour.
So here we are on board Audi Azura. We're going to see very shortly quite how close Quantum is to them. There's Audi All For One going around the back of the island.
Bribon seemed to have lost out a little bit from what we can see just now.
Rand's next.
Just cut that corner, lost the breeze for a few seconds. So Seb, we're looking upwind for this final beat. Can you tell us how it looks? Seb?
Sorry, Andy.
Just wondering how this long final beat up to the harbour looks for the TP52s.
Well, it's they're really near to the shore, so the effect of the land is you can really feel the effect of the land with it's puffy and gusty. And Brabham has elected to go a little bit further inshore, trying to have a piece of Audi All For One. Very unlucky, Audi All For One around the island, the Pigeon Island. And Brabham is right on their tail now with, and Quantum is going back to the shore with Audi Azura slamming on top of Quantum. Bit of a match racing here developing between these boats. There's really not much in it for the top four. And in a very shifty conditions there, anything can happen. So we've got a big race in our hand here.
Really not much in it, is there?
Look at that. After 2 hours of racing, all of those shifts.
Less than a minute between the top four boats.
Unbelievable. But significantly, the gap between Quantum and Container is 2.5 minutes and 5 places. Not sure where Synergy is in the mix there. Maybe they're not round yet.
And really the impetus of Audi Azura that we've seen since Cagliari, Marcus, has really been quite impressive, hasn't it?
It has. They've really got the bit between their teeth. They won 2 races yesterday, won a race the day before, and
were the strongest finishers in Cagliari's second half of the regatta. They were the best scoring boat. Tactician Francesco Bruni just having a look upwind. This is when it gets to be real heads out of the boat stuff. Watching the water, watching the shifts, predicting what what's going to happen in terms of the geography.
And keeping a loose cover.
See the gusts on the water there.
On the rebounding Quantum.
Helmsman Guillermo Parada requesting some information, I think.
Brabant just bailed out, going back closer to the shore. Marcel van Triest, the navigator, might think that inside the little bay in front of them there might be a little bit of a left shift.
Very difficult under these cliffs, Seb.
It is very difficult in this piece of water.
There we go, intense concentration for Francesco Bruni.
So what's going on here in the mind of Quantum? They'd like a win, but they're pretty happy with this second place, certainly on this 1.5 points. Do they want to mix it up and risk losing Audi All for One, or are they going to stay and let Audi Azzurra do all the sweating?
I think on the basis that risk management of yesterday, I think they go for the second, unless an option comes their way as we go through the entrance to the harbour. We've seen that before. That becomes very shifty and the big differences in wind pressure. But I think they'll just keep it tight with Azzurra.
Well,
Brabant just tacked. Oh, sorry. Audi All for One just tacked underneath Brabant. Brabant is rolling over the top of Audi All for One, and Brabant Quantum is going to be very close. So Quantum will probably tack. Here we go. Tacked on Brabant.
Well,
very close race for second place here.
The big loser there again is Audi All for One, who didn't anticipate that one well enough. That was a great move for Brabant, who still, remember, have a nice margin, a nice buffer on this regatta, and to get a third place in the high point scoring race is not going to hurt at all, although they would like to get closer to Audi Azzurra sailing team, who is now their immediate threat for the overall lead in this regatta. And in fact,
going through attack. Audi Azzurra going through attack now, going back to the shore to control Quantum and Brabant.
If Brabant manages to get back into second place, they will keep the lead, but if they finish in third place, then Audi Azzurra is going to become the overnight leader of the Region of Murcia trophy here.
Well, there's still a fair...
Ooh, it's looking pretty light there as they go towards the coast.
Yeah, there's still a fair bit to go with all these shifts. And then with the finish inside the harbour. So I wouldn't call it yet.
I think all the time you want to be protecting that left side. That's where the lift is, isn't it? Don't want to go too far either.
So the current race leader, and I say current because it's very, very close between the top 4 boats here, with just probably a couple of miles to the final finish of this coastal race. There is Quantum in second place, being challenged by Bribon, the white boat closer to the cliffs. And just in the foreground on the left-hand side, Audi All For One. Audi All For One has led for most of this race and lost control of the race about 25 minutes ago, I would say, and has been going steadily down the leaderboard ever since.
So what a close finish to this race. Don't remember a closer finish this season, do you?
No, certainly not. Not for the coastal race, that's for sure.
Well, Andy?
Go ahead, Seb.
Yeah, well, they're approaching the Cape and the entrance of the harbour, and within the next couple of minutes, I'll suspect the wind to change a fair bit as they enter the harbour. So it'll be interesting to see if the lateral that Brabant's got on Quantum will pay dividends or not. We're right next to Audi All For One now, but there's a big turn in the coast there, so the wind will shift one way or the other, and it's getting lighter as we're getting into the harbour. So stand by for something to happen quite soon.
Well, we're relying on you on that score, Seb.
Yeah, there's a big bay there, and the wind must change in there. You know, there's a significant change in the coast.
I think in general you protect the left, don't you? That's where the changes will come from first. You don't want to run out of pressure, but
I would suspect that Quantum
looks like Brabant have lost a little bit there, Marcus, perhaps.
Yes.
Better pressure offshore. We're Audi All For One are. Audi All For One back up to third just now.
That's correct. That's what we can see here too. But again, you know, this big bay there. Maybe there's a big left shift coming in.
It must be what Brabant are investing in or hoping for. Audi All For One sailing for pressure further offshore. Quantum in the middle.
I wonder how many of these boats went and sailed this last piece of the course this morning to try it.
What was interesting actually with Quantum for sure was we know that they were out earlier on in the week looking at the headlands, and I think a fair number of them have been out in their support boats and looking at the what if scenarios. Where can you get closest to the beach if you need to? This is very, very close, but Audi All For One, they're just a little bit more pressure, we feel, out to the right, a little further offshore. Audi Azura, though, doing a good job.
The question is, for Azura at the moment, will they, if Quantum was decided to tack now, will they slam onto them or let Quantum being in between or stay in between Brabant and Azura? It's a very difficult choice for Francesco Bruni. Are they playing the overall here in Cartagena or the overall on the circuit? It's a different game. There's more pressure for Brabant at the moment.
course, the finish line is right in the harbour, just a matter of a few hundred metres off the dock. So there's still a lot of sailing left in this race, Seb.
Oh yeah, a lot of corners and lots of headlands, big caves, big gusts, a lot to play for, especially with 4 boats within a few boat lengths of each other. Quantum will soon being affected by Azura.
How's Bribon looking meantime?
Well, Bribon is okay. You know, they suffered a little bit near the coast, but now that the bay is a little bit open on their left, they've got steady pressure, but they don't have a lot of room on their left side. Very close to the ley line from the next cape. And that's why probably Audi Azura is sailing a fraction faster than Quantum, just to try to get on Quantum's air, forcing Quantum to do a double tack and mix it up with Bribon.
So if you've just joined us late afternoon, we're with the closing stages of the high-scoring coastal race, the penultimate day of the Region of Murcia Cartagena Trophy on the Audi Medcup Circuit 2011. We've got Audi Azura just holding a slender lead as we approach the harbour of Cartagena. Coastal race finishes in the harbour, and we can see a big spectator crowd joining us on the dockside. We have no doubts who their favourites are down here. Strong following for the Spanish boat Bribon, winners here in 2008.
Well, what a turnaround this would be if Audi Azura won this race after that disastrous situation on the first run where they really thought it was all over. Not only have they got back into the match, but they've got back to the front of the fleet.
So this is where you get a good insight into the work of the strategist and the tactician. Close friends Vasco Vazcotto and Francesco Bruni. Vasco giving the big picture, Francesco keeping Guillermo Parada, the helmsman and skipper, updated all the time. What's the thinking? They have a 44-metre lead over Quantum.
Very flat water here, Seb, and it doesn't look particularly windy.
That's our Pigeon Island in the middle of the picture, isn't it?
Yeah, that's her.
Doesn't look like a pigeon.
Now it looks like they're all being headed slightly there now. I don't know if we can zoom out a little bit with the virtual eye, get a little bit higher up and overhead perspective to see what's happening. Oh, it's pretty steady, I suppose, still. Bribon just falling down into Audi Azura's line.
Bribon just tanked.
That may have been the reason why. So that's going to upset things. People are going to... Here we go. Here we go.
Stand by for some action here.
Bribon just tacked, Seb, and Audi all for one go. How's it looking?
Yeah, Audi all for one immediately followed by Quantum and Audi Azura. All tagged almost simultaneously, and Audi all for one doesn't have any choices but to tag back Quantum right on their face again. This is a match racing. Quantum is trying to protect their second place. They've got to keep an eye on Bribon going all the way inshore, trying to use the coastal effect. Meanwhile, Adrian Steed on Quantum has decided that Audi all for one was not going to pass, was not going to overtake them, and match raced them. They had 3 or 4 tags in the space of a minute. So for the moment, Quantum very happy to settle for second and see if they can have a piece of Audi Azzurra a little bit later.
Yeah, for sure, it's not over till it's over here.
Well, this is a critical time for Bribon as well, because Bribon, if she finishes second or worse, is going to lose the lead of the regatta that we're sailing here currently, and looks like she's in 4th place right now, so this is going to play nicely to Audi Azzurra sailing team, who are going to move into the overall lead of this regatta.
Yeah, there is the regatta, and there's also the championship at stake.
But in the championship, Audi Azzurra starting to make inroads into the overall margin, or have been starting to look like contenders for second, perhaps, Marcus.
Well, yes, no question that the gap between them and Quantum is going to close down. If they beat them by 1 place, there's only 2 points between them right now, so you could have a situation, I need to do the maths quickly, but Audi Azzurra could go into the lead on this now, overall, and for the regatta.
And that's probably why Quantum is really match racing Audi all for one, trying to minimize the loss on the championship to Azzurra. And I'm quite surprised that Azzurra is not trying to push Quantum further back, trying to help Audi all for one to overtake Quantum.
Maybe later.
That's a pretty high-risk strategy to do that sort of thing. That sort of thing can go badly wrong for you in a situation like this.
Then they're in good control at the moment, and you know, they could easily give a hand. A little bit of a hand to Audi all for one from time to time when the opportunity is there. Only thinking about the big picture. But as you said, there's also this regatta that is important for Audi Azzurra. Bribon sailing really close to the shore there.
Yeah, they're starting to need something, aren't they?
Yes, yes they will.
Prepared to throw the dice a little bit more now.
And I hope Marcel knows what he's doing, because they look to me that they're really close, can almost touch the rocks.
I'm pretty sure he does.
Yes, he does. There you go, a bit of a split here between Quantum and Audi Azzurra, maybe an opportunity for Quantum.
What's going on between Bribon and
Azzurra?
Azzurra?
They're right back into this mix with Audi all for one. Big gain from the Spanish boat.
Just not going to
port and starboard situation here.
There you go, Libau from Bribon on Audi all for one.
I don't think they've got the pace though, have they?
There we go, there's a problem on Azzurra, the mainsail is coming down. They've lost the mainsail on Audi Azzurra. The turning of fortune for the Audi Azzurra sailing team. The hook of the mainsail has broken, and the mainsail is coming down. A big drama on the water. We are about just at the entrance of the harbour, and it's never over until it's over. There we go, Audi Azzurra trying to attack Quantum, attacking on starboard. There's a starboard situation between Quantum and Azzurra. Ooh, a big present from Mr. Edbeard here. Very big present. I was surprised that they didn't protest that. Very gentleman very gentleman headband. What a drama on board Azzurra. Losing a lot of distance. The mainsail is coming down.
Unbelievable.
Well, how it changes.
Gear failure right there in the coastal race for the Italian boat.
This plays perfectly for Bribon, of course, because Bribon now will pass them.
Well, maybe, you know, they're sending someone up the mast, trying to fix something.
With the halyard.
Doing everything they can to still under their jib.
It's going to be a spinnaker halyard they're going to put on it there.
Possibly. It's not over for AD Azzurra. They can still finish second of this race.
Tense moments for the Audi Azzurra team then. We said it wouldn't be over till it was over, and that very moment.
Oh!
Another drama, Audi
All for One.
All for One has been penalised. A penalty, and Bribon is now third. Just a very close tack from Audi All for One going around the entrance of the harbour. What a drama! Full of dramas this finish. This is great stuff.
Still not got that halyard on.
Somebody has decided the order at the finish here wasn't quite what they had in mind and has decided to change things right at the end.
Still not getting that halyard on, has he?
Meanwhile, this is all good for Quantum, who now lead this race and have put a lot of more boats between them and Container. So this is a super dramatic period for the 2011 Audi Med Cup Series. Right, is Bribon going to get through? I think they are. I just don't think that that's all going to happen fast enough on Audi Azzurra.
Main's going up.
It's going up, but it's just not going to set quite as well, and they're distracted and they're slow. Bribon is going to go in forwards and take the Italian boat. There they go.
We'll have that, thank you.
Well, of all of the places for this to happen, it could have happened out in the big ocean where they were bouncing around upwind, but no, it happens right here just before the finish. In flat water, in lighter airs. It's just amazing how these things happen. And then Audi All for One coming around to try and take them on the other side.
So a gift for Quantum Racing. Have to get up to the next mark and then into the finish. That main's still not set, but it's certainly better. Looks like Audi All for One are getting through.
There's a situation for Audi Azzurra as well. They can't tack at the moment. They've got the runner backstay the wrong side of the mainsail, so I'm not sure how they're going to manage that. Because the mainsail is not going to go as they tack around. So will they have to go for a jibe? It'll be interesting to see how they can handle that. Oh, they're trying to... Ooh. You can see at the top, the runner backstays the wrong side of the main. Oh, well, they just go for it, pull that in. Probably damage the mainsail a little bit.
Look at that, what a turnaround for Quantum. Just waited and waited and waited. Saw their opportunities. First opportunity came as they went round Pigeon Island. A quick tack underneath gave them 2 places straight away, got in close to Audi Azura, and then just kept it tight. And here's the last spinnaker hoist around this last weather mark. Short run downhill here to the finish line.
We might just about see them out the window.
And second place is Bribon. Get out of jail free for Bribon there, big time. They were about to lose control of this regatta. And they're now back firmly in the driving seat. There's the finish line. Audi All For One is going to get round in third now. Is Rahn going to be able to get past Audi Azura?
There's a possibility of that. Although as soon as they ran the top mark there, they'll be on the spinnaker, so they'll probably be a bit safer on the Audi Azura. What a spectacular finish here inside the harbour for the coastal race.
Well, this is very powerful for Quantum. What a great day they've had, because this has not only put a big gap between them and Container, but it's also, through good luck, I would have to say, put a nice situation on them for Audi Azura, knocked away the 2 close threats to them, pushes them forward on points. They're still very close, there's still a lot to go, but very nice rally by Quantum Racing after a fairly mediocre start to this regatta. They've rallied back when it counted.
Yeah, Quantum Racing now within 3 boat lengths of the finish of this coastal race. Right here on Super Saturday, Quantum is taking the coastal race. Well, they can be very pleased with themselves. And Brabant taking a safe second place, so dropping the spinnaker early, because there's only 4 boat lengths between the finish line and the rocks. So don't want to risk it.
Well, Bribon, what a regatta they're having. I mean, that's another second place. They've had a second, a fifth, a first, a second, a third, and now another second. And that puts them with a serious option on winning this regatta.
Bit of a somewhat difficult finish for Audi All For One. They dropping the jib instead of the spinnaker. Bit of an issue at the pit there. I can see Albert Jacobsen working on his jib halyard. Never mind, they'll take third, but they've got to be careful. They need to drop the spinnaker quite quickly, because the jetty there is not very far.
Audi Azura looks like they're going to hold on to fourth. Well, how amazing was the last 15 minutes of that race. Penalties, broken main halyards, passing manoeuvres, match racing. Who said coastal races weren't interesting?
Audi Azura, well done, what a great race. Great race they had. The dramas everywhere on board this boat. Even if they finish fourth, tell you what, these guys, they never gave up.
You have to say, Mark, it's a pretty good race for Quantum. You know, they sailed fairly astutely. They kept themselves in the match the whole time, and then when the opportunities came their way, they took them.
I wonder if Terry Hutch had a chat to them this morning, and if he's still here later on. They won't want him to disappear now. That was a fantastic performance. really rallied strong, showing professional strength of mind as well as very, very good sailing skills and quality. The boat went well in these conditions. They were difficult. We've seen them go well in the stronger stuff, but it was very difficult to know. And this boat here, Container, is one of the big losers of the day. Finishing in 6th place here, whereas this morning they were threatening Quantum for the overall lead. They've been put firmly back in their place here, and also will take a big loss on the standings for, they were lying in 3rd place as well for this Region of Murcia trophy, and they're going to drop back quite a lot as well on the point standing.
Certainly in terms of the regatta then, Bribon in a strong position going into tomorrow. Winners here in 2008, can they do it again this year? That's Synergy, the Russian team, which won the first race of the regatta. Had a little bit of a tough day today, not really been in this coastal race.
Well, if you recall, Andy, it was right from the start that Synergy was on the back foot.
Yeah.
And they never recovered.
Indeed, but I guess also Audi All for One, you know, they had that big lead early on. We thought with 300 meters in hand on that after that first beat or so, that it's going to be a long day for everyone else. But what a finish we were treated to here in Cartagena on the penultimate day of racing in Cartagena, and the penultimate regatta of the season. So can Bribon do the business tomorrow?
It would be so nice. It would be so nice to have Bribon winning this event.
So here's the standings after 7 races. The TP52 fleet, Bribon still leading nicely with 18 points. Audi Azura dropped back a little bit, 23. Quantum Racing has moved up into 3rd place here now. Container in 4th. Audi All for One and Synergy and RAN follow in 5th, 6th and 7th.
So a good day for Quantum Racing. Chance to really restore the confidence and the team cohesion a little bit, I guess. Certainly looking at body language yesterday, Marcus, they weren't particularly happy, I don't think, but a win in the coastal race is worth a lot.
No, that's for sure, but I think it probably took something like what happened yesterday for them to say, hey, we've got a problem, we've got to address this, we've got to sit down, we've got to work it out, we're professionals, we're all very good at what we do, we know the boat can do it. And they obviously got through that process and sailed a very, very solid race today. Had a few breaks that went their way. And this may well, we said it yesterday when Container got that big lead, but this may well have been a very key moment in the 2011 Audi Med Cup season.
Indeed, but certainly for Quantum, yesterday was a difficult one for them today. I think maybe we see their mojo returning, and they can find a little bit of extra speed on the course.
Well, that's our helicopter going overhead, making a bit of a racket, but we have got still 2 more races to sail tomorrow for the TP52 class. We have another SOTO 40 race to sail today. And anyway, for tomorrow, for 2 more TP52 races, the forecast is still good, so I think we still have
Levante, I think, this northeasterly. It should be fairly shifty again and gusty. Ideal scenario for a final day when it's all to play for.
It's all to play for the Cartagena Region of Murcia trophy, but I think we're going to see some playing going on in terms of the big picture stuff so that teams can establish themselves in a strong fighting position as they leave this event before going to Barcelona, with time to think about what they need to do to concentrate for that regatta. So I think for the first time, certainly in my experience of the Med Cup, we're going to see a lot more moving around going on in the last day.
Yeah, a difficult day for Container. Container have been pretty consistent through the early part of the season, and now they really have to come back fighting for this regatta and for the rest of the season.
There's no question about that. I'd like to think that Container may well have that kind of discussion this evening that the guys on
Quantum
had last night and managed to lift their game again and get right back into the match tomorrow. But very difficult situation for them now, because Quantum, I think, are on a roll, and they'll certainly be pleased with what happened today.
So it gets ever more interesting, ever closer, and ever tighter as we head towards the end of the season next month in Barcelona. Fantastic city to have your finale in, and it should be generally sea breeze conditions there. But still a couple of races tomorrow, and we'll see what happens then. Ngoni, I think, will still be leading the Soto 40s with their second, and so there should be interesting racing with them tomorrow.
Well, yes, we may well have a situation, depending on how this second race goes for the Soto 40s, that Ngoni can't be beaten in this regatta if they have another good performance. Back in just a few minutes.